operates one pipe at a time through a gear-operated cam in this motor. And so when it goes, it comes up, pushes that down, puts the next one in spot.
The rolling mechanism rolls in a clockwise manner, and when it comes off, it typically lands on top of the hydraulics, but because of the V shape of the rollers, it sucks it forward, so that the hydraulics, which is operated by a servo motor back here, pushing this piston through the line, pushing this forward, goes forward so that the cone of the flame is on the cap, stopping with this limit switch when this is engaged. And
the SPA assembly, which is the solder paste applicator, feeds forward by a motor, feeds out. We have two limit switches, one for the out feed and one for the return. Servo on top rotates in incremental distances, would have to be reset and cycled for each cycle, so we don't draw this back, drawing any air into the syringe. It sends, travels out, deposits the solder paste at the joint. As it's rotating, let it sit for a moment, make sure it's fully covered. It retracts back to that point. Again, not backing off the servo so that the next cycle it is at the place where it left off last time.
The torch here is operated by a cam that turns, pushing this button on, which has two operations. First to preheat, and then after the SPA or after the solder paste applicator dispenses the solder, and it retracts out of the way, which is twofold. One, to get it out of the heat source, but two, so the robot can move, but then the torch comes back on to actually do the soldering. So a robotic arm, we had to use one with a RISP, as we need to twist the pipe to dump it in the cooling tank. It handshakes two ways in both directions. One comes from the cortex once the torch cuts out, tells the arm to go down and pick up the pipe, brings it over the cooling tank, which had ice water in it, lowers it in the cooling tank, and then there's a slow turn to try to get as much water to drip off. And then it deposits it in our finish rack and releases it and pulls away at the same time. Returns to a vertical home position, which was necessary because we have the SPA applying solder in very close proximity.